This is the Generation Report. Recently, I received an email from a listener who mentioned he had used ChatGPT to ask questions and get answers about the fourth turning. Since that story seemed germane to a lot of things going on right now, it got me thinking again about how Strauss and Howe's ideas continue to be recited in a Cliff's Notes version that seldom changes, despite the fact that those Cliff's Notes are based on a book that came out 26 years ago. With that in mind, here briefly are my thoughts on the distinct advantage of understanding these ideas as a millennial. The principal problem with the Cliff's Notes version of the fourth turning as it's typically recited is it condenses Strauss and Howe's entire theory in a way that makes history out to be driven by almost a prescribed cause and effect relationship between events and archetypes of people. And one of the net results is that any accommodation for the lived experiences of real people gets lost. For no generation is the difference between these Cliff's Notes and real life greater than it is for mine. The oldest millennials were turning 15 when the fourth turning was published. Naturally, as a millennial who understands Strauss and Howe's ideas, you can see intuitively where their insights and predictions conform to our lived experiences, as well as where they don't. This can hardly be overstated. If you didn't come of age in this current era, you don't understand what it's been like. But since millennials have come of age in this era, those of us who've applied Strauss and Howe's ideas to get a sense of what's happening can attest to having actively looked for ways to adjust our personal direction and for reasons to be optimistic. Take it from me, most generational experts who make a show of reciting the familiar Strauss-Howe talking points won't ever reconcile with the fact that most of the insights they're dispensing are just talking points. And that dovetails to what I believe is the singular advantage of being a millennial in this context. You've been forced to appreciate that even a remarkably insightful and prescient set of ideas that explains the basis for who you are and how chaotic everything is may not, in fact, have entirely anticipated where history is going. Last summer, Neil Howe sat for an extended interview with Tony Robbins. I've included a link to it in the description. I encourage everyone who listens to their conversation to ask these questions. Does their framing of current events seem to reflect the sense of where the country is going as most people are perceiving it day to day? Or does it mostly seem to rest on optimistic comparisons with America's past, a past that was lived by different people? Maybe there isn't a definitive answer, but whatever the best answer is, I can pretty much guarantee it's something you'll never get from ChatGPT. Thank you for listening.